Welcome to this week's live video. There are two big pieces of economic news out of China. First, earlier this week, Beijing announced that third quarter GDP growth came in at 4.8%. That puts China on track to meet its full year target of 5% growth. At first glance, that looks very good. That's the kind of growth levels that other countries would die to have. But if you dig a little deeper, there are some real weaknesses there. First of all, that growth is primarily being driven by a real surge and continuing strength in the export sector, which came in September over a year earlier at a quite strong 8.3%. It'll come as no surprise that that wasn't exports to the US. There was a plunge of 27% in exports to the US, but exports to the EU, to Southeast Asia, to Latin America were all up around 15%. And exports to Africa surged by over 50%. Driven by that external demand, industrial production also was good. It came in at a strong 6.5%. Back at home, though, things were not nearly as rosy. Families are not spending. That was reflected in a weak 3% growth in retail sales. That was a 10-month low for China, as well as companies are not investing. There was an alarming 0.5% drop in fixed asset investment. If you look at private companies, it was even worse, a 3.1% drop in investment. A lot of that's being driven by the continuing problems in the property sector. The other big piece of economic news out of China was the closing and the release of the communique from the fourth Plenum, a once every 5-year event. Very interestingly, this plenum was distinguished by the fact that so many Central Committee members never showed up. Out of 205 Central Committee members of the Communist Party, only 168 were there. Reasons for the no-shows included illness, death, and a fall from grace. 10 members were not there because they had been expelled from the party, and another 26 were unaccounted for. In terms of the economic news that came out in the communique, there was a continued focus on trying to boost consumption in China, private consumption. No surprise there, but good luck. China's been trying to do that for a very long time. There was also a reiteration of China's goal of becoming a self-reliant, advanced technology country. And they introduced the now popular phrase of new quality productive forces, things like AI and semiconductors, into the communique language as well. The trouble with Beijing's fascination and long focused emphasis now on high technology is it's not a job creator. It's capital intensive. It's labor, short on labor. If anything, it may actually be a job killer. That means it doesn't help with incomes, household incomes, and it sure is not going to help with household consumption either. So don't hold your breath on China making its long-touted transition to a more domestic demand-driven economy anytime soon, and expect a lot more trade tensions going forward. That's it for this week. Tune in at the same time next Thursday. Thank you.